The first thing that I want to be very clear on is that this video is not meant to hate on Dave Ramsey at all. Dave has brought personal finance education to the masses, and I really admire that. He's helped so many people get out of debt and get their lives together financially. So if I even helped a small fraction of the people that he's helped throughout the years, then I would consider myself wildly successful. All that being said, if your goal is to ditch your debt and start saving for retirement, then Dave's baby steps will work beautifully for you, and you'll be in a better spot financially than a large percentage of the population. Dave really focuses on debt because having a goal to get debt free really lights a fire under most people, because a lot of people have struggled with debt in the past and they really understand how it hurts their life. So people are really motivated to get rid of their debt, and that's really the key when you're creating a financial plan. You can run numbers all day long, but what it comes down to is really being committed and disciplined and sticking to the plan. That being said, if you're like me and you want more than just being debt free and retiring at 60 and living an average life, there are better plans out there. But I want to say this plan is not for everyone. As I mentioned, Dave's plan is more for the masses, and then this plan is more for a select group that really want to get educated on investing and leveraging debt in the correct way, and also having and learning the skill of managing your emotions during the ups and downs of the market and other tough times that you're going to, inevitably have. And by the way, this isn't as hard as people think. Many just don't take the time to learn because they're not interested in it, or they just don't realize that it could have such a positive impact on their life.
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't care. I don't care, I don't care.
So if you don't want to do that, then stick to Dave's plan. But if you are interested in that, let's get into the differences between what he teaches and then kind of what I'm doing with my life. If you are not aware, Dave's program is called the 7 Baby Steps. So he has 7 steps that put you on a path towards success. So I created 7 steps as well, just to compare and contrast and make it easy to understand the differences. So the first step in his baby steps is to build a $1,000 starter emergency fund. And I actually agree with him here, and I listed the exact same thing as my first step. And it's not necessarily that this amount is going to be life-changing. It's more so if you don't have that $1,000, it gives you some momentum and some breathing room to step into the next steps in the program. So it's not about the amount necessarily. It's more about having some hope so that you feel like you're making some progress towards your goals. And then right into step number 2, Dave says, pay off all of your debt aside from your mortgage. So it doesn't matter what the interest rate is, just start paying it all off. And this is where I tend to disagree if you want to maximize your cash. So what I say is I would pay off any high interest debt, which I define personally as anything over 5%. So anything over 5%, whether it's a student loan, car loan, I would start paying that off as fast as possible. And anything under that, I would leave for now. And don't worry, because we're going to handle that debt later, because I want to be debt free eventually as well. It's just a different strategy in terms of how we want to pay that off. And right into number 3, Dave says that you should next save 3 to 6 months of your expenses in an emergency fund. So if you spend $5,000 a month, times that by 3 or 6. And so if you wanted to save 3 months, you would save $15,000. If you wanted to save 6 months, you would save up to 30. So it really kind of depends on your situation. And while I agree with having an emergency fund, I think that if you want to retire early and leverage your cash in the most useful way possible, then I think 3 months is okay. And again, if you want 6 months and that makes you super comfortable, then I totally get it. But similar to my previous step, I think there's better ways that you can utilize that extra cash, because building a 6-month emergency fund might take you quite a while. And I really don't want to prolong the next step. And step number 4 is where the magic really starts to happen in my plan. So step number 4 for Dave is to invest 15% of your income into retirement. And while I agree that if you want to retire at 60, this is about right, My goal is to retire before I'm 60. So I need to jack that up and invest into things that are not retirement accounts, like a taxable brokerage that I can access at any point or income real estate. So the key here is to figure out when you want to retire and then do all of the calculations to figure out what that entails in terms of how much you need to save every single month. And figuring out how much you need to retire is somewhat complicated, but as a general guideline, you need about 25 times your annual expenses. And if this is invested in the correct things, then you can usually pull 3 to 4% per year of that portfolio to live off of. In terms of calculating this, let me know if that's something you'd want to see in a different video, but I think for this video, it might be a little too much. So just know that there's a lot of resources out there that can help you figure this out. But again, it's probably too much for this specific video. The other thing I want to say is if you want to retire early, then it's likely you're going to have to invest a pretty large percentage of your income. So you're either going to have to cut expenses or increase your income, or maybe do both. And another key point here is that increasing your income is much more powerful than cutting your expenses. And if you cut your expenses too much, then you're going to have a bad lifestyle, and then you're going to hate your life, and you're not going to be motivated to do this plan anymore. So the key here is really figuring out how you can have some side hustles and other ways to increase your income. All right, well, the last 3 steps for Dave Ramsey's baby steps are: number 5, save for your kids' college, if necessary. Maybe you don't have kids, but if you do and you know they're going to go to college, you can start saving for that. And then also pay off your mortgage. And then the last step is continue building wealth and giving back, which all of these are admirable, but you'll notice that my 5, 6, and 7 are quite different. The reason these are so different is because Dave's plan doesn't say anything about retiring early. So a big difference here is that once you reach that financial freedom, that is when we are going to pay off all of our debt. So let's say we still have $150,000 on our mortgage and we need $1 million to retire. So we're going to keep building our investments until we have $1,150,000. And then we're going to take 150 of that, pay off our mortgage, and then we're going to live off the interest that the $1 million pays us for the rest of our life. And by the way, $1 million isn't enough for most people, but you get my point. So once we pay off all of our debt and we're debt free and we're living off our investments, we're going to retire early, and then we're also going to continue building wealth and give back, whether it's with time or money. But really quickly, I want to circle back and talk about paying off your mortgage early versus investing, because this is really the key difference in my plan. Is I'm thinking about debt in terms of leveraging low interest debt and using that cash flow to invest and create a bigger return over time, and then using those returns to pay down the debt. Versus if you're just paying off your debt over time, you're saving a somewhat minuscule amount of interest. So you need to do what's right for you. But again, if you can master the skill of investing and mastering your emotions when it comes to investing, then this could potentially be a plan that would work much better for you. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you really need to do what motivates you and what you think you can stick to. So if paying down your mortgage really motivates you, then go ahead and do that. If investing motivates you more like it does for me, and I actually feel more of a sense of security having, a big brokerage account that I can tap into at any time to pay my bills, versus locking that cash up inside of your house that you can't chip the brick off of your house and go pay bills or buy dinner with it, but you can sell some of your investments to do that. So personally, I feel more security in having a big brokerage account. And again, I could go into a lot of detail on this topic, but I more just wanted to bring it up and mention it because it's not something that Dave talks about that I've heard, and I wanted to get the gears turning. So anyways, I hope this video kind of gave you guys a little inspiration if you are looking to take a different route. So if you are, give my Instagram a follow, subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me a follow on Twitter, because I'm going to be talking about this stuff a lot more often. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, and let me know what you think down in the comments.